Hey.
Are you heading out?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Sorry to interrupt.
Thank you. You're good.
Fun.
Thank you
yeah,
very
thanks.
much.
This is amazing. Thanks for having me on this thing.
Oh man, it's our pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Thanks again for working Sunday.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
Love you, Pops.
Love you too, Steph. Take care, buddy.
Well, shit. I'm rich, man. Fuck these things.
He's done. It's over.
That's enough for me, dude. I got my check. Hello, people of the world. Welcome back to another episode of Sam's Sessions. We're here in the Acoustic A Room of South Austin Music, and another very, very special day. To my right is my good friend Jesse Lee, the best one-handed guitar player in Austin. I'm going to say in the world.
Okay. I'll take it until somebody's ready. Although I have seen some good players out there, man. There's some good players.
Yeah? One-handed players?
Yeah.
Okay. We got to get into that. And I'm the world's worst interviewer, as everybody knows. So yeah, we already started on that. Let's jump into that real quick. The best one-handed guitar player in Austin. I saw that, and I was like, I wonder, have you come across other people that try and do it with one hand?
You know, to be completely honest, for a while I was running through some other players kind of in a similar situation. Because I really wanted something to kind of market myself and just kind of screw it. People are already saying it. Why don't I just start saying it about myself?
Yeah.
And I have run into a couple of other players. Who's the best or whatever. It's just like an arbitrary term. But
of course.
I'm definitely the only one doing it the way I do it. Full stack amplifier, Flying V, Floyd Rose.
Yeah.
The other players, they're more indie. I think it's more of an indie sound.
Okay.
Clean guitar.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me say it right off the bat, man. It's badass watching you play. I mean, you're an amazing guitar player, just as that, And then if you
a show.
Yeah, right. And if you take into
the
account that you have the one hand, I mean, it's like people don't even know if they don't see you playing.
I do get that sometimes. Some people will be like, "Whoa, midway through the show, I didn't notice until you said something about it." So I'm like, okay, at least I'm fooling the people that much.
Yeah.
But, I still always want to get a little bit better.
Of course. But yeah, it's like, I can't tell you how much of a piece of shit I feel like for barely being able to play 3 chords. But I'm like...
I knew 3 chords once,
Yeah.
That's all really... I only know 3 chords, actually.
To this day, yeah.
It's just the same 3 chords over and over again.
So yeah, I was getting ready for this interview and checking out Day Eater, your band, which is a really, really cool band. You guys are purely Austin-based, local Austin
Right
acts?
out of Austin, yeah. Well, I was not born in Austin. Born Corpus Christi, Texas, way down the south. But
still close enough.
Yeah, I've been playing gigs in Austin forever. For as long as I've been doing out-of-town shows, it's always been, let's get to San Antonio, let's get to Austin. Austin's where it is. Austin's, you gotta play gigs in Austin. Up and down Red River, bars that aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
When we had X's on our hands and we were little punk rockers trying to play Headhunters or something like that.
Your song Nightmare, totally stands out. One, because it's a 9.5 minute song.
It's a bit of a longie.
Yeah, it's a 9.5 minute
It's a long boy,
song.
that one, yeah.
And I mean, I want to talk about the song, all kinds of different, the music video, the lyrics, all of it. It's crazy.
The whole bit was a production to put together.
I can't imagine. What was the inspiration for making that song Nightmare so long?
Well, to be honest, that is a Chris Brockett pen number, but he says that he, what's that movie called? The Flame Red Bull. What is it called? It's like the cartoon. It's not the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit, but it's The Last Unicorn.
Okay.
The Last Unicorn has the Flame Red Bull thing. Is like the bad guy or the monster in the movie.
Yeah.
So that's where that middle piece comes from, and I think that ending bit and the beginning piece are just some riffs that he had that he said he really had a nightmare, a dream, that he saw people he knew just turning to ash.
No way.
Yeah, and so he's like, hey man, tell me more. What are the chords? What are the chords?
That's crazy. That's so cool.
It's really like almost 3 songs in one if you
right.
about it.
I had a nightmare 2 weeks ago, and I woke up in the middle of the night to write it down. So this would make a great horror movie.
Nice.
So that's badass that musicians can sometimes turn some scary stuff into a good song.
I always say I'm gonna try to write down my dreams. I never do. I was like, I'll remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah.
What was that?
Never do.
Yeah.
You never do. You have to write it down straight away. what was shooting the music video for that song like?
Shooting the music video was awesome. Okay, so there is some rehearsal studios. Oh, they're like on is it Ben White and First, kind of across the street or next to
First Studios?
yes,
Yeah.
that area back there is like the woods and stuff. So that's where all the black and white stuff. We kind of one day we went out during the early afternoon,
Whoa.
set up. Got a bunch of spare wood, lit it all on fire, got some people to hang out in robes, lit some candles, and yeah, so it's right back there.
Is that like legal? Lighting the fires back there?
You know, there was no cops there.
It's
So.
sick. Yeah, you're good with me. I just
yeah.
I would have thought you guys were way out somewhere not
No,
in the
that's
city.
right. It's right over there.
That's awesome.
And then the color bits where we're in the we're in a rehearsal studio, and it's the one with the elevator.
Space?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Space studio, and so we actually set off like we had 2-3 fog machines going.
Damn.
And I was like, what's fog? It's water vapor or whatever, but it set off the smoke alarms, and so
Wow.
in the middle of everyone rehearsing, everyone has to come out, and you're like cracking the door open. All this like it looks like we're hotboxing this place. All this fog comes out, and we're just like, oh shit, sorry, we just need one more take, and we'll be done. And then so we did the whole thing. That was like a 14-hour day. All that video was shot in one day.
Wow.
That's
I
cool.
was gonna ask like how many
Katie
days.
McDowell. That was Katie McDowell, cinema director, and John Rosales
Yeah.
helped us. Holy Death Trio.
Wow, that's so cool, man. Yeah, I mean, you had to have some real talent behind that video because it comes out as like a very good-looking production.
It's almost like a little movie. How long it is.
It really is.
The drone shot too is my favorite.
Yeah, it's one of those songs where you can, if you're in like a 20-minute car ride, you can listen to the whole song and it's super enjoyable. But I had no problem sitting at home just watching the video over and over. It's
Nice.
It's like watching a story.
It's fun. We get to invite some friends. Who wants to be in a music video? Put on the robe. Let's light something on fire. That was really attractive for people. It was a little.
Everybody's-
easy to find some people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh yes.
Everyone loves lighting shit on fire.
That's exciting.
I know I do. What was the purpose or the idea behind the contrast of black and white to color?
That was the videographer's choice, really. Katie McDowell and John Rosales, they thought that bit would look pretty good. And also, because we were filming that, I think a lot of it had to do with those scenes in the beginning where it's like hypno-trance, Chris walking through the woods, was shot during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the black and white kind of makes it look a little more menacing.
Yeah,
And then,
it does.
The color, it makes the color bit, I think, kind of stand out, kind of Wizard of Oz style, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys perform that song when you're doing live shows?
We do. We have 2 versions of that tune that we'll do. One way that we'll do, you kind of sometimes, spoiler alert, stick it at the end of our shows as a closer,
Yeah.
and we play the whole thing, bang, front to back. But there was a time when we were running the set, we kind of started with this middle harmony bit, the bit that's like, what is this crowd of tortured souls? We would just do that voices, and the voices would kind of build and build and break from this nightmare in me. Kind of come in like that, and that was a cool way to start the show. When we did it with just the vocals, you could listen to the playback, and you can hear people kind of chattering, and it's little vocals happening, and then they get kind of bigger, and you can hear everybody like stop talking. Okay, that's kind of neat. Yeah.
You can tell they're like really entranced by it.
It was an attention grabber for sure.
That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to not get lost in that song. Like, even talking to you about the song here, I'm like, I gotta remember the other shit I want to talk about. Cause like, it's like...
It's a great song, man.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that, Chris brought it to the table and we were able to make what he wanted a reality.
Yeah.
That's kind of, aside from like the individual little guitar solos that happen here and there, it was his chord turnarounds and
That's
his
sweet.
structure to the song.
That's sweet.
And so it's like,
Does
let's
he-
make it happen.
Does he usually come up with the song ideas, or you guys all 3 collaborate?
Yeah, so that just happened to be the one that he wrote. The ones I wrote are like the tune Plastic Rat, I really like. I wrote the tune Sweet Earth. I really like that one. There was another one. I don't remember
Sweet
what it
Earth,
was.
tell me about that one.
I really like Sweet Earth. I started working at the co-op down the way, Wheatsville Co-op, a while back, and there's a frozen food called Sweet Earth.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm like, hey, that's cool. I think I was listening. I was driving to work that morning listening to The Doors. And there's this one of the song where he's like, "What have they done to the earth? What have they done to our fair sister?" And so I just, what have they done to sweet earth?
Yeah.
And that just kind of, so that tune is almost like 3 songs in one as well. It's got a one bit, a middle piece, and then an outro. But I think it's just my way of, I always tell everybody, the song's called Sweet Earth, pick up your fucking trash.
Yeah.
It's just what it's about, I think.
That's cool. That's so cool to hear.
That was our single before the recent single.
Right.
So it was Nightmare Sweet Earth,
mm-hmm.
the single now.
So the recent single Normality, which is another amazing song.
That one is great too. So that one's actually kind of fun. Chris wrote that song, but
Chris Smith.
Yeah.
Chris Smith, right?
No, Chris Brockett.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
Chris Smith, the bass player, my bass player.
Okay.
Our bass player. He wrote the song, the lyrics, but he lets me sing it. So I sing the lead vocal on it.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to sing the harmonies to his own song.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Paul McCartney when he does All My Loving and he sings the harmony to his own song. He makes George sing it the last time around and he sings the harmony. So it's pretty cool. So I was like, yeah, man, I'll definitely sing this song. Normality is an awesome tune in the rocking key of E flat. Really, yeah. And I think it's just, about the things we do day to day that seem normal,
Mm-hmm.
Normality is happening to us
mm-hmm.
everywhere, all
Mm-hmm.
the time. And it's just like, hey, when you stop and notice that stuff is happening to you, you can write a song about it.
Yeah.
Way. It's a pretty neat tune. And that one has been a good one. It's got a great opening line. Gather round. I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works out. He sings those harmonies great.
Yeah. Gotta shout out the bandmates. Yeah, it's cool because I noticed with most of your songs, they're really easy to rock out and jam to, and you can just kind of have that mindless, like you're just losing yourself in the music.
Yeah.
But they do, a lot of them seem to get pretty deep.
Try to. I think I hate a lot of psychedelics.
Yeah.
In my life, I've eaten a lot of psychedelics, and it's just, you get a little introspective about yourself from time to time.
For sure.
And I think that's, for writing songs is hard sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so trying to find real inspiration or really try to feel enthusiastic about an idea that you have versus, I got to write a song, I got to
mm-hmm.
put pen to paper, chords to music, and
Mm-hmm.
figure out an idea instead of actually like, whoa, that was a introspective experience that happened to me. How can I
Mm-hmm.
try to manifest that in a song that I can convey that feeling to other people?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
This is really cool. I'm super happy you brought that up because there's a few questions I have. First, what's your favorite psychedelic?
Okay, it really depends on setting and circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like with like fungus, things like that.
Yeah.
You kind of know what you're getting a little more, so I can block out time, or I can just. Sometimes we do gigs like out for the Bolies in the Bolies Ranch, and we'd invite 20 close friends, and we're all camping out on this ranch, and I'm like, well, there's nobody here, just our friends.
Yeah.
Let's freak out of our minds and play a 5-minute version of Manic Depression or something for fun. We're just having fun because there's usually a liquid light show.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I would do it then just to try to feel what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
With the other stuff that comes on the paper, you never know what you're gonna get. You know?
For sure.
Sometimes you be gone for a few hours. Sometimes it's like 8 hours.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa. So,
Mushrooms seem like the most popular, and you tend to hear more horror stories about like things on paper, like acid and stuff. Mike, since you said you've done them several times, have you ever had a bad experience? And if you do have a bad experience, is there something that you do to bring yourself back to being calm and having a good time?
Well, I think that I've never really had a negative experience.
Wow.
Like that. It's always kind of, I'm able to kind of guide myself. I've never really gone too far over the edge,
Mm-hmm.
usually still.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you get the giggles, and it's like really funny. And that's what I really enjoy. I think laughing is really the best medicine.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
laughing, tears in your eyes. You're like, what's so funny?
Yeah.
Nothing. Ah.
Yeah.
But
that is the best.
when you're playing, and so I've had it a few times at rehearsal, and then I've had it a few times at some like kind of less pressured gigs.
Right.
Definitely nothing like in town, but stuff that, hey, you're there for this special gig. We're gonna freak out a little bit. It's gonna be different.
Mm-hmm.
what I think or what I feel is this. Now, kids, don't try this at home. But I feel like a bit of it's like a complete freedom of thought, where I don't have to think. It sounds so dumb. I don't have to think about playing what I want to play. It's just kind of happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, thank God, these are the sounds. Actually, when Day Eater released our first record, this is when it really, really hit me. When we released our first record, Voices Out of Nowhere, we released it around this time, around Halloween time in October. So we released it at, we have an annual Halloween party. We team up with Naga Brujo. We have Blood Nasty. Blood Nasty 8, folks. It would have already passed. But this is like Blood Nasty 2. And we were the main attractions. It was our first album release. Anyway, I ate this stuff on a sweet tart. Somebody gave me a sweet tart, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna eat this. Boom.
Yeah.
I had on this costume. I was El Chavalín de Colorado, so I had like a red jumpsuit on, a little bumblebee, the yellow heart, and it said CH with the yellow shorts, and that's what I was. It was Halloween that year. And I remember when it came time for us to play, I was on my way to the peak, I guess, of the experience that I was having.
Yeah.
And about this first or second number, I'm playing and I'm feeling okay. It's a familiar feeling, but it really hit me because I had a DOD phaser, and I stepped on the phaser. Just the phaser kicks in. I don't know, man. I just kind of look out, and there's like an astronaut. Somebody's costume's like an astronaut. Somebody was dressed like a baboon. There was like mermaid, and I was just like, whoa, I'm in a bit of a psych band trying to there's all this echo and delay happening, and I'm like, whoa, I'm kind of letting it hit me. And I'm like, okay, I got to concentrate now. And I think that might have been my most negative experience. I kind of had a bit of I saw people I knew. It's just,
that's got to be so
hit me. Yeah, it really
overwhelming.
Hit me.
That's got to be so overwhelming.
That's the word for it. I took off the hood to my thing. Looked at Chris. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get it together. Trying to step on all the pedals and play the right chords, the words.
I can't imagine doing something like that. That's so badass, man. I mean, it's yeah, I think people naturally have nerves before they do something like that in general, but to be on a stage and playing and, having people in the crowd watching you, it's like...
It's a bit of a freak out.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it too often. It's been quite a while since I've done it.
Yeah.
But,
it's cool, though, because it does allow you to go to places that you may not be able to get to otherwise, and you can draw some really cool stuff with it.
You realize how much I suck. Whoa, I got to practice.
Did it really?
A little bit, yeah.
Interesting.
I did have one experience where I was like, I need to be more serious about my technique on guitar. I wanted to be a better alternate picker, which is difficult because I can't hold a pick. And so instead of going ticka, 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 I feel like I'm going it's so big and bulky. So I'm still trying to find ways to alternate pick, digga, 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 little runs like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of already said it, but seriously, you do deserve all the respect in the world for taking it so serious and not letting something like that hold you back at all, The gear I have too really does a lot of the work. The Flying V, it just... I'm sure, but we all have it. All musicians have gear, you know what I mean? It's really impressive.
Thank you. I do practice a lot. I do try to see something, hear something I want to learn, look at a piece of music. I'm like, okay, when I learn that'll be...
Yeah.
Then I can move on to better stuff, bigger stuff.
That's crazy. So how old were you when you got into playing guitar?
I was about 13 when I got my first acoustic guitar.
When you asked your parents, hey, can I get a guitar? Were they like, how are you gonna... did they question it? Did they support you?
The weird thing. My grandfather was in a band
when
he was in his time. He was in a group called the Morticians. And he played, I think it was Zydeco music. He played the guitar for some tracks, and he played the accordion for other tracks. But he was a boozer, man, so he, crashed his convertible into a tree or something and had his arm amputated.
Wow.
Pretty early on in his life. So by the time I knew him when he was an old man, he had his old accordion put away in the back that hadn't seen light in forever. He had his old acoustic guitar. It was like a no-name acoustic guitar put away in the back. So when I go over to grandma's house or whatever, hang out for a minute in the way back was the old guitar, and I used to take it out, and I thought that for some reason I would play it this way, left-handed.
Right.
But that didn't work out, and so I only had so much time with it. I'd go away for a week, come back another weekend at grandma's house. And so in the time I was away, I was looking at myself, thinking about how I would play guitar. And I thought that I would end up using like this
That
little
part?
bony part here.
That's
as
what
like
makes
a
sense. Yeah.
pick, and I'm like, okay, it might be awkward, but I'm willing to try to do it. And when I actually sat down and tried to play right-handed the other way, I ended up using this
Really?
here, yeah. And so I think the first thing I was able to play on a tuned guitar was the Nothing Else Matters. Open dong ging ging ging.
Oh, yeah.
Ding, dong, ging. And I'm like, hey, I can do this. Went back to school in like 7th, 8th grade. They were offering guitar lessons. It was like me and 2 other people signed up. And so my guidance counselor took out his guitar, taught us how to play G, C, and D on the guitar. And from there, the first song I learned was About a Girl by Nirvana off the Nirvana Unplugged record, the very first track. I learned that record front to back.
Definitely amazes me when I'm around people who have this like natural thing that would maybe keep them from doing it, and they're like, "Nah, it's fine."
I've definitely thought about it and just like, man, I'm lucky that I stuck with it.
Yeah.
Because, I started out playing. I was in a little band with my brother. Maybe I hit about 17, 18 when I graduated high school or so. I didn't play guitar for a long time. It wasn't until I moved to Austin that I picked up the electric guitar again, started Day Eater, and then was like, oh, I need to be the lead guitar player.
Yeah.
And so I started learning little lead licks and learning how to play those blues licks. And I remember there was a time, maybe within the last 3-4 years, the last leap I think I made was when I was like, oh, I need to learn how to do chord embellishments, Little Wing. And so I learned how to try to play Little Wing. And that was the last time I felt like, oh, next step.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of happened really fast. Like I say, I've been playing guitar since I was about 13, but I feel like there was a time where I took kind of a break. I wasn't really playing for real, but I had a guitar. I had an old Jasmine Takamine.
Oh yeah.
Tried and true, man. And I just every once in a while play like I Want to Hold Your Hand or something.
Just for fun or whatever.
Yeah, but Take It to the Beach. It was my beach guitar. And until I moved to Austin, I was like, okay, be a serious electric guitar player. Bought my first tube amp.
Yeah.
And, here we are.
Yeah, the rest is history. Where does the name Day Eater come from?
Tom Jackson thought of the name. Well, we kind of thought of it together.
Right.
We were kind of jamming in the early day, and fun fact, the song Day Tripper and Beat It by Michael Jackson are both in the key of E major. And so I was kind of just like, I'd play the Day Tripper riff, and then I'd hit the low E, and then play the Beat It riff. And I was kind of trying to play both riffs at the same time, and he's like, what are you trying to do, make some kind of day? Oh, because we didn't say Beat It, we were playing Eat It.
Okay. Yeah.
And
just eat it.
Yes.
I like
so
that
he's like, what
version.
is this Day Eater riff that you're playing? And I'm like, hey, if we need a band name, that could be the one.
Yeah, it's a sweet name.
And then, of course, we ran through like 100 other ones, and none of them stuck. We booked a gig, and they were like, hey, we want to know the band name. And we were like, Day Eater.
Yeah.
And that's how we did it. That's how we also like wrote songs. We booked a gig, and then they were like, okay, you got the gig. I was like, okay, we need songs. Let's write songs. And that was always like a way to kind of motivate us to do a little more. We book the gig first and then try to fill in all the details later.
Yeah, no kidding. I gotta jump back a little bit here, but with exactly. Thank you.
That's my reverse.
Thank you for the transition there. Yeah, that's perfect. But with the your new single Normality.
Yeah.
When you said Chris, I was just thinking of Chris Smith, who produced the song.
Chris Frenchie Smith.
Chris Frenchie Smith.
I forget that's his name.
You were talking about your bassist, but because I wanted to bring that up. I mean, he's a Grammy-nominated producer. How did you come in contact with him?
How did this happen? So I think it kind of all happened really fast, and then when it was kind of settled, it felt like we'd known each other for a long time kind of thing. I think it started with the Austin Music Foundation reached out to Day Eater and wanted to make Day Eater a part of their artist development program. And so we had a couple consultations with them, and it was through a fellow named Einar, who is a friend of Frenchie's, who really liked Day Eater. It was like, I think you guys would do well hooking up with Frenchie. He's a good producer. The Bubble Studio is a great studio. And we recorded a couple tracks there, and it was a really good experience. It was the most professional thing I'd ever been involved with. And it was really the only time I had ever recorded. It had been so DIY in the past that I showed up and just set up my gear and then played. That's all I had. I didn't have to set up a mic or stupid DIY stuff that you have to do yourself. Put on the headphones, go check the level, you come back, and just come back. But no, I just sat there on a little bench thing, the guitar, and he's like, "Hey, can you hear me?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, I'm just gonna set some levels and just run through the song, play it." And so all the Bubble tracks are all live. It's live instruments, very little overdubs, but we did overdub all the vocals, which was really cool too, because he was able to hear us sing the 3-part harmonies, and instead of wanting us to do track by track by track, he's like, just 3 guys around a mic, boom, give it the best you got.
Yeah.
3-part
Does excuse my ignorance here too, but does 3 people harmonizing together, does that come naturally for y'all? Do you have to
Hell no.
Yeah.
I think it comes. So here's the thing about Day Eater. Day Eater is 3 really good musicians, but 3 really different kind of musicians. Whereas I went to school for music for a little bit. I thought I wanted to be a music teacher. So I went through the theory classes. I took stuff pretty seriously. So I know my keys, and I'm not super fast at reading music, but I know my theory. So I'm like, if I'm playing this note, I know that these other notes are going to work because of theory. Chris, on the other hand, he took some theory. I think his dad was the orchestra director for the school he was at.
Yeah.
But it's all his ear. He's got a way better ear than I do. So he's like, I don't know what note it is, but it's this one. Man, he'll sing it. I'm like, it's a B, Chris. It's a B. Or we're jamming, and I'm like playing the chord, and I'm like, the chord progression is E, F sharp, B, and he's like, which one's the F sharp? I'm like, it's that one. He's like, oh, he knows what it sounds like. Yeah. He doesn't know the names of the stuff, or he doesn't know how to apply the theory and things like that. Right. So harmonizing, I'm like, hey, I know when the harmony should come in. I know that there should be someone on top and someone on the bottom. Well, Chris is like, well, then the harmony should go like this. And he'll be like, I'll sing this. Tom, you sing that. Jesse, you sing this. And boom, he works out the harmony like that. Yeah. Through the years of working with him, I've gotten a little bit better at it, but he's just got such a good ear. My ear sucks, dude. I don't know how to...
I gotta know, people in general just don't always get along, and you describe yourselves as all different musicians, and I know how bands can be. What do y'all do to keep yourselves united with the same idea and not get caught up in arguments during rehearsal and stuff?
We definitely do have a little bit of especially, man, when you're friends with somebody for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Definitely get into some differing opinions.
Yeah, 100%.
I think we just all have a pretty clear understanding that whatever's said, don't make it personal, don't take it personal. It's usually all the disagreements are about arrangements in music.
Right.
I think it should go like this. Well, I think it should go like this. Well, I think it should be like this. But it doesn't happen too often. But when it does, I guess it's hard sometimes to, at least for me, I have when I write my songs, I have this idea of just I think it should go like this.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not always like that. I definitely compromise a lot, but for maybe someone like Tom, who doesn't have as much experience writing songs, a drummer, he'll write a song and then he's very open to other ideas.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. But I try to stay out of that because I sit back and I'm like, I wouldn't want anybody telling me how to play my tune unless I'm just there's always some times I'm like, I think you should do this, but what do you think?
Yeah.
What sounds better?
Of course. I really like what you said there too, especially about like not taking things personal. Then this is kind of an aside, but there's a book called The Four Agreements.
Okay.
Have you heard about this book? One of the agreements. It's basically 4 agreements to like life. Maybe you even have a better understanding than I do, but I do know that one of them is don't take things personally. And,
oh man, you can't. You really, you just.
It's a cheat code to life. Not taking things personally.
I kind of coast through a thought of life on that, thinking of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's only a few people I really, really, really care about in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And those people wouldn't say anything to me like that.
Yeah.
So whenever somebody does try to hurt me personally or personally attack me, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
I feel I'm very unfazed by things like that. I think too, with people who don't get along, it's a lot of ego. You want to be better than the person you're arguing with. And I think within the group, especially as time has gone by, I feel like, well, if my ideas or whatever are being challenged, it's by two of the best musicians I know, two of the best people in the business, I think.
Right.
And so it's like, I try to use that as a reminder to ground myself and just be like, hey, the people you're working with are as good, if not better, than you. So it's like, listen more, I think.
Yeah.
What I try to tell myself, but it's it's hard in the moment.
Man, that's so cool. I'm really happy we got to talk about some of that stuff.
Yeah, it's like if those are the biggest things that are heated up against, because we're pretty much unified on everything else. The band should look, sound, convey ourselves in this way. Check. Band's merch should be like this. Check. Gear that we use, everything down to like the gear. It's usually it's really little things.
Yeah.
It should be a minor chord. It should be a major chord.
I love it.
It's really, it's not, I think that's pretty funny.
Yeah. It's like almost every band could have a reality show behind them. You know? Just like.
Dude, we got GoPros recently. You just wait.
No shit.
Stick them up and just, you never know what you find.
Yeah, that's awesome. So this next question, I don't know if you'll know what I'm talking. I really have no context behind it, so hopefully you might be able to give me some context, and if not, it's fine. But were you recognized by the mayor? Was Day Eater recognized by the mayor?
Oh gosh, January 9th, 2019 is Day Eater Day.
That's insane.
Yeah, there's a couple of other
cool.
bands that so they gave us a proclamation.
Okay.
Signed by the mayor. What is his name? What is it? Adler? Is it Adler?
Yeah. Adler, yeah.
Who I hear is a decent music fan.
Really?
Yeah, and so to be honest, around 2019, we were working with a PR, someone in PR. They were called Zeta Royals, and I don't know what kind of connections they had, but one day they sent us an email. So we paid a certain amount of money for X amount of service, just whatever we could get out of this,
Yeah.
And one day he's like, hey, y'all want Day Eater Day? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, the mayor proclaims these days to local bands in town.
Wow.
Whoa, like a whole day. I'm like, yeah, okay. So, okay, well, I'll get back to you on what the actual day is.
Yeah.
2-3 days later, he's like, how does January 9th sound? Do we have a choice? It sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm busy that day.
Yeah, you're not gonna work. But yeah, that's so we were just like, wow, well, what do we do?
Yeah.
Throw a show.
Yeah.
Throw a show, release a record. So that's what we did. We had it's kind of right before everything had shut down. We had a really good show at the Mohawk.
Okay.
Down there. We unveiled our 7-inch vinyl single.
Wow.
It was a rocking time.
And now it's Day Eater Day.
And yeah, now it's every January 9th. It's coming up.
Do you guys plan on doing like a big show every January 9th?
Sometimes. If honestly, since then it's come around. It's 19, 20. So it's come around. It's be the third year. I think it'll be around. If we can remember when it rolled around last year. It's like, oh. Today's Day Eater Day. Oh crap! Somebody make a video. So, yeah,
So for the next part of the show, we'll do kind of more like rapid fire questions. Exactly. Man, you got the whole like, is that whatever you call those, transitions or whatever, you got them on point.
Oh, yeah.
Shrooms are acid.
Oh, sheesh.
I'm going to say acid.
I'm going to go with the blind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fight or flight?
Fight or flight. I'm probably a flyer.
Flyer,
Yeah, don't hit me.
80s or 90s?
80s.
80s.
Pixies.
Yeah.
Dickies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had to get rid of one, Facebook or Instagram, which one's going out the door?
I've definitely had both. I'm like, Instagram's so dead. Facebook is so dead. But I guess Instagram, kick it out.
People normally... Do you have a TikTok?
Data does have a TikTok.
Ooh, you guys are on point.
Yeah,
That's sweet.
and it's actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, my personal TikTok, best one-handed guitar player. It's best one-handed guitar player stuff. But the Dater TikTok is pretty funny.
Is it just Dater on TikTok?
I think it's, Dater Band.
Dater Band? Okay, cool. Check that out.
Yeah.
Check that out for sure. So, you can't choose music for this one because you're already there, but if
Music.
you could... But if you could be a professional in anything, what would it be?
Man, okay, this sounds weird because I just how people talk, but I always wanted to be useful with my hands.
Mm.
So like carpentry or
Something.
something. Yeah, I want to build something. But I'm so afraid because if I lose a digit or something, man, it's over.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough.
I don't think I can Tony Iommi myself and to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely keep all the ones you got for sure.
I used to be a little skateboard rat.
Uh-huh.
And I fell down one time, had this epiphany of like, holy crap, if I break my hand, someone's going to have to help me go to the bathroom. I'm going to have to wipe.
Wow.
I'm not doing that. So I traded. I remember telling my, I'm like, hey, I want to put my skateboard towards a new guitar.
Yeah.
I'm not going to skate anymore. I don't think I can break a hand playing guitar.
What a, not mature, but like what a forward-thinking person to think that.
Because it almost...
Like how old were you at that time?
12 into 13.
See, that's insane to be 12 or 13 and be like thinking about the future. Like
that somebody's going to have to wipe for me?
Yeah, well,
that was the concern. I'm like, all right, in my 4 years old, I'm finished. No, yeah, I thought about it once. And I was like, maybe I should stop trying to be like Rodney Mullen.
If you could be in a penthouse in any city or have like a ranch in any state with as much land as you really care for, which one are you choosing?
Man, I just took a vacation out to New England. I was in New Hampshire, New York, Vermont, Maryland. Somewhere out there, man. I was such a starve-stricken little Texas boy. The trees out there. So everything's so green. Weed was legal out there in Maryland. Went to the store and bought a bunch of weed.
Yeah.
They gave it to me in a little bag with a receipt. I was like, so yeah, I'm here in Austin because it's definitely like the culture vibe. People, you're never at a loss for ideas or something to do or something to see, something to be a part of. But if I had to have already made my mark, I think I would want to retire out there.
Yeah.
To just kind of like, I've always wanted some kind of home studio. I know I shit talked DIY earlier, but I've always wanted to be able to record at home.
Yeah.
Somewhere where I can play the drums. Believe it or not, I want to play drums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That works out for me.
I do a lot.
That's awesome. Man, Jesse, I can't thank you enough for doing this for us.
This was pretty fun.
honestly, so much fun. Again, seriously, thank you. And yeah, looking forward to see what else Day Eater does. It's
Me
great.
too. We got some new singles coming out. A new we'll put it. I think they call it an EP. Yeah, LP is long play. EP.
Okay.
By the time this airs, we check out the new Day Eater EP.
Hell yeah.
It's gonna be awesome.
Hell yeah. Got it. Rocky, dude.
Bam.
Thank you,
Thanks.
man. All right, cut. Have you ever done that?
I know for a long time the kind of girl you are, of a smile that covers teardrops, the way your head yields to your heart, of things you kept inside that most girls couldn't bear. I've known you for a long time, but I've just begun to care. Yes, I've known of all your heartache, I've known of all your pain. I've seen you when the sun shines, and I've seen you when it rains. I've seen you make a look of love from just an icy stare. I've known you for a long time, but I've just begun to care. And I know I've been blind to not have loved you all this time, but the image of you wasn't clear. I guess I've been standing too near. Oh, it's taken me a while, but I have finally found what you are to me, and that's what really counts. And what you are to me is something we can share, 'cause I've known you for a long time, but I've just begun to care. And I know I've been blind to not have loved you all this time, but the image of you wasn't clear. I guess I was standing too near. Oh, it's taken me a while, but I have finally found what you are to me, and that's what really counts. And what you are to me is something we can share, 'cause I've known you all a long time, I've just begun to care. Yes, I've known you for a long time, but I've just begun to care.
Yeah!
Thanks.